This is my project ZenScrum, and I'm going to take you through just some of the functionality, and then afterwards I'll describe some of the technologies that used to make this. So to start, we just have basic login, registration. Everything throughout this should be relatively mobile friendly. I did my best. The majority of it should be. And yes, this is no exception. And yeah, so let me just log in. I already have some accounts set up, so I don't need to make one, but you could if you ever wanted. So I logged in. Yes, gives me some little notifications. Right away, you can see all the projects that I'm a part of. You know, I can go to the home page, I can log out, I can try to go to the login page, but I'm already logged in, so that's not going to work. And obviously, I stay logged in on refresh. And these are just some projects that I'm a part of. So you can see my name is CM Forrest, which Kobe Forrester is the name on the account. And this is owned by Shannon Forrester, but I'm a member of it. So I can view everything. I can go to the sprints. I can see all of this, but I can't edit it like this, which is my own personal project, where I can edit it directly. For example, one, and it will automatically update it. Saved on refresh. Everything is saved on refresh, and can change that back. And I can edit the members list. I can delete it. I can create sprints. So if I want to add, for example, Shan, just another user that I made up, it'll dynamically add it. It does everything like that. And then say I wanted to create a new one called Demo. Let me copy some of this lorem ipsum, and there's Demo. And yes, I could again edit the members list, edit it, but no, I can look at the fact that there are no sprints, so I could add some sprints, but I'll worry about that in a second. You can see that when you go to delete something, just a little window pops up. Yeah, you can't add it with nothing. It's going to ask you, and if you make it too short, the title must be at least 3 characters, and the description, and pretty much all input is both cleaned on the front end and on the back end. So there shouldn't be any problems with that, aside from maybe some edge cases I didn't think of. And yep, now, so for this one, I can go to the sprints of the project, and it labels the name, ZenScrum, and all of these sprints are numbered automatically and sorted by start date. And so if I create a new sprint and I want to have it here, that should be the first sprint. Awesome. So yep, this is just some standard lorem ipsum that I copied. It's the first one, August 2nd. And then if I want to change this to maybe 2021, this should go to the back, save changes, and now we have August 5th there, and the August 2nd, 2021 automatically updated. Again, because I'm the owner, I can edit all these sprints. I made it so they're not editable unless you are the owner of the projects for the sprints. And yeah, and then again, everything is all editable, deletable. That could change anything. For example, this says hello for some reason. I could just say demo. I can edit it, and if I try to make it so that, say, the start date is after, let me try to save the changes. Yeah, the start date can't be greater than. I can just cancel it, go back, and yeah. And then I have some tasks. Yes, and this one right here, perfect. And so yeah, you can add tasks, and I made it so anybody can add or delete tasks, not just the project owner, just because I felt like that was something that I guess made sense to me. And yeah, I can create a new task. Let's call it, again, demo. Maybe I'm not the most creative. And yep, I created it, demo. It adds it to the end because actually the earlier dates are going to be at the front, and then the later dates are going to be at the end. I don't know why I made these August 3rd and made this one August 4th, but I guess I did that. And again, you can edit all of this. This edit can be a little bit small on this one, but I guess just to prove functionality. And you can have two states for these. So they're either completed or they're not. And for example, the project's already in it and we already created a React app for this example. So say I want to click this as created. Well, then it will put it in here and sort it, as I said, sorted by completeness, then most recent date, and it'll automatically do it. Again, everything is saved on refresh, of course, and that is mostly that for the tasks. I can show you the delete. So this hello world 1, and we don't really need that. And so yeah, and then why is it demo 2? I don't know. And yeah, everything saves, everything is updated for everyone that's a member of it, and it's yeah, that's I think the majority of it. Another aspect would be is you can see the link to this. Well, I'm using React Router, which I'll get into in a minute, and I'm using this hashing type of routing, so that's why there's a hash there. But if you look, it's just this is the link for the projects page. If I reload it, and so if I log out, it gives this cool little message, and if I try to go to it, I don't have access. So yeah, it won't let me do that. I just gave a quick demonstration of all the functionality. I'm sure there are some parts that I left out. I feel I was pretty meticulous with this app, and I added a lot of things that maybe would only be seen in very specific situations and specific error messages. But yeah, that was a quick overview. And now I'm going to describe some of the technologies that I used throughout this project and to create it. One of the first ones would be for the backend, and I kept the backend and the front end completely separate from each other. And I used Django for the backend, and Django, just a Python-based framework. And for Django, I installed the Django REST framework, which is just a third-party app that makes it really easy to make REST APIs, because this is a backend which is just for REST APIs. That is all it's really used for a front end to communicate with it. And yeah, Django REST framework made it really easy. And then I used Knox authentication, which is again just a library, maybe not a library, maybe a library, I don't know, but it's just something that you can install that makes authentication a little bit easier. And it makes it so that while it's a token-based authentication system, the tokens expire, and not only do they expire, but you can have a person logged in on multiple devices. So the same account can be logged in from multiple devices. So you could be logged on your phone or your computer, and Knox authentication would make a different token for each of those and makes the whole process a lot easier. And I used PostgreSQL for storing all of my data, and I hosted everything on Heroku. So there's, I believe, 4 hours each month where the servers can be down. And so if there's a little bit of lag when using them, that's probably why. I used the free plan. I didn't feel there's any need right now to pay for it. Maybe if I do a lot of changes and I think it could really be helpful to people and I keep adding things, then maybe I would want to use a paid plan if I had a lot of users, but currently I don't, so I feel there's no need. Before the front end, I used React entirely, and I used Redux for the state management, the global state management of authentication. So the user information, the token that Knox gave us, that gave the front end, and Redux made it, while there's maybe a little bit of boilerplate and Redux maybe gets a bad name, I thought it was pretty helpful for just simple authentication, and it made it easily available to access global state in this way. And speaking of authentication on the front end, I feel like it's fairly robust in that you can't access anything unless you are logged in, other than the login and the registration page with a valid token, and it automatically will log you out after the token has expired, which is set to 10 hours, which I believe is a default, but yeah, mine is set to 10 hours. So the backend token will expire. On the backend, the token will expire after 10 hours, and on the front end, the token will the front end will also realize that the token has expired. And so there's kind of double protection there. And for that, yeah, I just automatically you get logged out after 10 hours, and you can't access anything unless you're logged in. But even if you could, the backend would protect against that too. But yeah, so I also used React Router, which is another library that you can install for React, just an npm package, and same as Redux. And I used hash routing, and I believe the standard is browser routing, but I used hash routing because I just read that it was easier to deploy an app with hash routing, um, and it seemed to work perfectly for me. And that's just how to route around login, registration versus different components, and yeah. And speaking of that, the components, I used only functional components, and I used only hooks, state hooks, use effect hooks. I didn't use any class components or really anything else. I found that I had no need for them. I've actually have not used at this point very much the class components. Maybe I will one day, and maybe this video will be out of date then. But yeah, I found that functional components were all I've needed, and they've been all I've needed, so that made it easy. Then I used Bootstrap for a lot of the styling. I added some of my own CSS, but most of it was on top of Bootstrap, and it just made it a lot quicker, and I think that it worked perfectly for what I needed. So yeah, and it's obviously a CRUD application, create, read, update, destroy. You can do all of those with anything. You wouldn't be able to if you're not the owner for certain things, and certain things you wouldn't be able to, but everything is creatable, readable, updatable, and destroyable. And again, I built it with the intent of having it mobile first, with a mobile first idea in mind. And so I believe almost every section is is able to be used on a very small screen or a very large screen. I personally have not been able to find any issues, even on the smallest iPhone that I could find a friend that has, or my monitor. It has had no issues that I've been aware of in that aspect. So yeah, that is my project in a nutshell. It took me a lot of time to learn all these projects and a lot of learning, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And I think that there are definitely things I could have done differently, and this has taught me a lot. But yeah, this is my project. Thank you all for listening, and yeah, goodbye.